I tell you what, Shatta boy, kijana barubaru chipukizi.
Yeah, man.
Wacha tuachie hapo. Ako sawa. A very good morning. Welcome. It is another beautiful Tuesday right here, and happy International Women's Day to all of the ladies who are watching, and of course the two lovely ladies we have here who I think they are going to, if ever we have people looking for a sample of great, insightful, thoughtful, brilliant, smart, beautiful women from this great country, then I guess we have them right here on set. So happy International Women's Day. Beautiful both in and out. So tunashukuru sana. Yes, and we celebrate you. Yes, yes. They told me to say that. I'm kidding. I speak for all of them.
Yeah,
all of the men. Yes, yes.
I want Shatta to say it also.
Yeah, Shatta. Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Yani nyinyi ni mabazu.
Hao ni mamazu.
Nyinyi pia nyinyi ni mabazu kivye.
Tuko bogi yako.
Nyinyi ndio bogi yenyewe. Amuko best.
Geri inengi.
CJ, you want to chime in?
Oh, no, man.
CJ just needs to say more fire.
By the way, CJ would be interesting on a drop. Yeah.
Hapo kwa International Women's Day ongeza mafans wa Chelsea.
Wacha tuache hapo. Unaharibu. All right.
Shana.
Well, it's a day that I have so many posts and you know, just talking about, you know, how the common phrases, this could be somebody's sister, mother. So I saw just somebody say, it's someone, you know, it's, you know, women are people. They're human beings just like the rest of us. So while it is good to categorize and to celebrate those categories in your life, your sister, your mother, your auntie, and all of that, but at the end of the day, bottom line, the bottom line of humanity is caring. And so today I want to talk about something that is quite, it's been, I can call it controversial because of the happenings yesterday. If you haven't seen, there was a video doing rounds of a lady who had an incident with border operators. I think about 14 or 16 of them have been apprehended so far, but just, you know, the assault that was, you know, that happened, you know, of course, disgraceful, and, you know, we ran out of bad words to describe it, but it was devastating, and just even the screams, you could tell, you know, she has gone through some trauma, and hopefully after the arrest they're about to book. It brought to the fore conversations online, even just about consent, about, you know, no means no, and in different industries. We've seen this movement, you know, from way back, all the way from the Me Too movement and all this, and it's not changing. I've seen a post by Victoria Badiri, and it's a very good post, and she's smiling, but she's like, okay, I had to post this because of the metrics of IG, but I really just want to say, you know, it has to be about safety and women's safety, and also celebrating women on the flip side of it. So we'll start there, because consent is something that is, people don't like talking about it, Shaz, but, you know, when it comes to a woman and a woman's body and men appreciating and not crossing that line, maybe we can start from there.
Well, I think the most important part is the responsibility also of men and women to educate the boys that are growing up. I have a 17-year-old boy, and for me, it's imperative that he respects a woman, and so much so that he won't date one until he feels that I found someone I can really, truly give myself to and I would respect. And that is because he will turn around and say, the way dad respects and will treat you, that's who I want to be. And I think it really stems from people being able to see, how is mom treated at home? And that is something that is truly overlooked. When you are raising boys who are watching mom being beaten, or mom mistreated, or mom taken for granted, or mom spoken to rudely, that's all consent. It's not just sexual that we think. Consent could you treat me with respect? Could you not take me for granted? You know, I've said yes to you at an altar. Yes to you was consent to give you my heart, my soul, so that you will trust me, you will respect me in front of our children, in front of my family, in front of my own eyes and my own dignity. So I feel consent is way deeper than, you know, we've reached a point and I feel I don't want to go ahead with having sex anymore and I have a right to say no. Consent starts with your soul, with yourself and who you are. And I feel it's with men to be able to look at women with respect, despite what they wear, despite how they behave. It's to be able to understand a woman is still, at some point, either your mother, either your sister, an auntie you respect, but you've interacted with a woman, not sexually, in the beginning. That was your first interaction with her. So I feel it's educating boys. How do you treat a woman? How do you not push a woman to a certain level? And, you know, even in today's day and age, you see boys that will twist women, you know, that love is if you are with me. And you're twisting her to say yes in a way that she's not understood she's saying yes to. So it's take that pause. Understand what you as a society, as a man in society bring. You bring a level of respect to also raise a woman, where a woman doesn't have to fight, use her voice in a masculine, rough way to say, I should be seen for more than the way you see me. I should be seen for what I can equally bring. I should be seen as a woman that works so hard. I should be seen as a woman that will carry your children. And the least that I do that with my body and goes through that for you, I deserve consent consistently, not only in the bedroom, but in so many more ways than that.
And when you talk about that, CJ, yeah, that video also, I saw a lot of what Shaza said to some extent. We didn't see the whole of it, of course. We just saw that part. But in that short part, it was rather sad that in the midst of the chaos, there was not one person who was like, yo, one man who was like, hey, stop, this is wrong. Of course, like I said, we didn't see the whole video, but the part that we saw, it wasn't there. Does it go back again to things we're exposed to? Is it a societal thing? Is it a bringing? Because it's been a topic for a long time.
You know, we've had a lot of very subtle, demeaning jokes on women for so long. And we put up hashtags and we joke about them and let them go. These things do reveal the inner value system that we have, so that by the time you see people come to attack a woman publicly, they've been having these thoughts hidden subconsciously. It gives them pleasure. I mean, it should worry you that somebody would easily put up something that demeans a woman and then you share it as a joke, because it means that you are enabling those other people, and that's already a level of, you know, you are now consenting to the abuse, and you feel that this woman does not have the right to respect. We normally do not see the evil in us, because most of the time we pass it out through jokes. So when something like this happens, what has been in us, which we feel is very normal, just begins to show up. It's just a platform. So what happened on Wangari Maathai Road, that's just a platform of how most of us view women. We do not view them as people who deserve respect. We do not view them as people who need to have their own voice. We view them as people whose bodies are our property that we can grab. Because I put up a post yesterday, Willis, and I said, why is it that when a man is on the wrong, you'll never see anybody strip a man? I mean, if it is for the same reason,
the same accident,
yeah, why don't we ever feel that we need to strip a man and shame them? What is this about shaming women and their bodies and feeling that we have a right to their bodies and having the pleasure of seeing a woman stripped naked? It shows the evil that is in us. So we have to go deeper into just searching what kind of people are we? What are the things that give us pleasure? Is it that sometimes I will hide behind it? I want to see Willis do it. I'm afraid to do it for some reason. Maybe that's why nobody would stand there and say, hey guys, stop. because we seem to be a people who enjoy demeaning women. Yeah.
And the other thing, Bobby, that was there yesterday, which is the sad reality that women go through, is that whenever these cases arise, the first question is always, kwani alifanya nini? You know, sort of like and even if alifanya kitu, it doesn't justify that. But is that a thing that, you know, women have had to live with? That there's always, and like CJ said, exactly. And if you go to even just using yesterday as an example, all you need to do is just look at the hashtag and even search Wangari Maathai Road and look at just the comments. You'll find people on both sides of, you know, some who are like, yo, this is wrong. And then others are like, you know, like it's okay. So is it something that women have had to deal with, that question of lazima amekuwa amefanya kitu?
Definitely, and it's very difficult, especially because it's almost as if we're fighting against people who should be fighting with us, against horrible people. It should be all of us together fighting against these rogue people who want to harm women and people. It shouldn't be we're fighting men, women and men are fighting each other. We should all be on the same page, but we're unable to be on the same page because, unfortunately, I speak especially for the environment I grew up in. Kids are really, really socialized to view women as less. It's not something that you just wake up and then, oh, women are treated like this. No, it's in the subtle ways. It's in the very, very small ways, like CJ said. In the jokes that we let fly, in the conversations that we have, in the lack of education and awareness that's going on, in the communication and the conversations that we also refuse to have surrounding topics like this because it's taboo or because women shouldn't have a voice either way. It's all these things that zinachangia to the people who are now adults, and this is how they feel. And what's the sad part is that when you lack awareness, you almost don't even know the difference between right and wrong. You almost can't even tell that stripping a woman naked just to humiliate her, just to get the feeling of whatever you did, it's very wrong. And to some people, it's funny. It's something that they can actually sit down and joke about and laugh about. And it's because they don't even see the graveness of the situation of what they're doing because it's normal for them. That's how they've been socialized growing up. And something most of us don't realize, I was reading a book about, it was just talking about the patriarchal society that we live in and just the misogyny. And something I came to find out is that by default, when a boy is born, we all live in a patriarchal society. So when a boy is born, they're born into misogyny by default. Because a lot of things that happen in their lives, in some way, at some point, they're going to demean women. So it is almost as if it is upon ourselves to start unlearning these things, the internalized misogyny that is within women and the misogyny that is within men, so that we're able to tell this is wrong and this is something that we're not supposed to be doing. But it's very difficult because we're in a society that rewards men for disrespecting women. If you sit in a kikao and you're talking about, it's like the video, the BBC one where Kina Jerry were talking, there was a kikao ya men.
Yes.
And the men were saying all these things. And you see, when you're someone who knows...
This is about, to put it in context, domestic violence.
Yes. When you see men talking like that, or even women, and you're someone who knows better, it's very, very shocking. But for them, it's almost as if they can't even tell the difference between what is right and what is wrong. And that's why I keep saying we need to start having these conversations so that we can break down all these things that have been normalized in the society. Hata hizi jokes, watu wengine wana mini mtiaji ama, you know, when you're standing up for things that zina changia kusaidia women, watu, especially on KOT or Twitter, they have this thing where they think wanakutukana wakikuita feminist. You any feminist, nyamaza. And then you get to realize that these people do not even know what a feminist is. If anything, all of us are supposed to be feminist. All of us are supposed to be fighting towards making sure that there's some sort of equity and equality and just love amongst ourselves amongst all genders. So it's very, very sad to be that in 2022, it's actually something we're still discussing. Imagine, we're just saying, please respect us. We're not even asking for anything else. We're not saying, did you do what by me, ayat, nini. I'm just saying, respect me. Do not touch me if I do not want to be touched. Listen to me, protect me, be around me to make sure that I'm okay instead of being amongst the people who are trying to break me down. As women, that is all we're asking. That is all we're asking. And it's as if, it's so crazy because all the comments, especially on Twitter, that are going against it, it's as if they're fighting us on wanting to be respected. Like, I'm just saying, respect me. Why are you fighting me on that? Why is that a point of contention where it's like I have to start proving why I deserve respect? It's so crazy, and the timeline has been very, very triggering. And if these things give you post-traumatic, stress, I'd say just keep off social media for now because it's very, very crazy on the mental health. Yeah,
that's what I saw my friend Mike Washira, that's how he started the post when he was posting it and talking about it. He said, trigger alert. If you have this, please don't watch. And it's quite tough. And Shatta, sometimes people get away with or want to use as an excuse. And yes, it is true, how you're brought up is very important, but people say, use things like, no, even to see kwa hizi area kwa geto tunakwanga hivi ama sisi ni rich kid, we don't care about this kind of things. I have money. It's on both ends. You can use the argument on both ends. You can say sisi tunakwanga hivi kigeto, and then on this other side I'm untouchable. So what are you going to do? I have the money. So how do you talk to both sides kuweka hiyo respect?
Unajua hii issue yote sio kitu mpya. Unaona, like kitu ni very normal. For the last 2 weeks kuna joke imekuwa ikitrend na naita joke ina sound vibaya because it's not a joke to me, but niliraise kwa radio. Kuna kitu imekuwa ikitrend, wasa wanaulizana kwa mtandao, tukule nyama kwani sisi ni wanawake.
Yes,
that thing ina trend sana, and people think it's a joke, and unauliza kitu unauliza kwani sisi ni wanawake, na imetrend sana for the last 2 weeks. Mpaka nikajiuliza kwani kitu iko sponsored. How is this funny? But ukiingia kwa status za watu wamezipost, watu respectable, hadi madem wana post. So me I'm wondering, what have we become really? Unaget? And another thing with feminism, I strongly believe, and she's matana kwa 10, I believe the idea of feminism was hijacked by wrong people. People hijacked the whole idea of feminism and made it a fight against men. Unaona? If there are people that are supposed to be driving feminism, it's men. Unaona, we are fighting a vice. We are not fighting a gender. Right. Unaona, what is happening right now with people that pretend to be pushing feminism, the feminism agenda, are people that just are scrubbing up a Jew too, on the scratch up a Jew, and they don't want to deal with the real issue. Unaget? And when they deal with it wrongly. People that spew hate and call it feminism have made the name feminism itself lose its meaning, because kama mimi nikikaa chini na nisema I'm a feminist because I believe in fairness, I believe we are all equal, people will be like, unajiita jina gani hiyo? Because already isha hijackiwa. Unaget? We need to first of all understand the road to recovery is acceptance, that hii mission tuko nayo tumeipata vibaya. We need to go back. And first of all, kama ni bring up watu, just teach them to be human. If I am human, I know I need to respect
everyone.
Bobby. I know I need to respect Willis. If I am human, it is the basic concept of being a human being. It's just have respect. I don't have now to specify because this is CJ, I'll respect him this way. Because this is Shaz, I'll do this. Mtoto akifunzwa heshima. Mimi nikigrow mimi sikuambua sasa huyu ni mwanamke mheshimu hivi, huyu ni mwanamume mheshimu hivi, niliambua heshimu binadamu yote. Unaget? Hiyo concept imekuwa ndani ya watu through vitu watu wana watch, through social media vitu watu wanaongea. People have forgotten the basic concepts za kwa tu binadamu. Hiyo tu. Hatuna utu. Unaget? I keep saying there's a difference between being a human being and being human. Unaelewa? Sisi tu hatuna utu. That is it. Because hata hiyo video jana ukiwatch, mazee wa machalivile walikuwa wengi wakiarasuo dem, mpaka unashangaa watu wamechizi nini? Wanajielewa. I'm hoping kama wameshikwa waiko hiyo video wa watch, waone nini walikuwa wanafanya, then from there ajiulize kama ako normal. Unaona the video ikisha kuna Karao walitokea, I think Karao wali arrest hiyo situation. Unaona, big up to Karao by the way, juu kama angetokea pia hatujui nini ingeendelea. Una get? But when as a man, maybe you married or you have a daughter, you have a sister, when you're doing these things, wewe just jiuliza, piga tu picha hapo sasa, hiyo ni sister yangu amekalia hiyo kiti hiyo gari, that's my wife seated in that seat, that's my daughter kwa hiyo kiti anafanywa hivyo. Would I be cheering? Ningekuwa hapo kando na cheer hiyo kitu ikihappen, ama ningetry ku stop? Una get? We do not have that thought of what if it was me, what if it was my person. We need to have such questions in our minds and just remember to be human. Unaona hiyo concept imepotea watu.
And also, if you, I mean, the recording was something else, and that's the thing I think with the social media space. Two things happen there that it has I have an issue with is because and sometimes it helps because you record it, then that's how people got aware of it, and now you know, police used what they call geo-mapping or something to trace the people you see. So fine, it was recorded, it was cool. But then in social media, the other thing is, I feel like, and I've said this before, living beyond the quotes, and that's something that even I think Bobby, you know, from watching her, I've learned that, is living beyond the quotes. It is so easy to find a post about, for example, in this case, everybody's going to post today, International Women's Day. They're going to post their family, they're going to post quotes, they're going to, because it looks like the in thing to do. If I don't post it today, I look, I look weird.
If I didn't support Ukraine, I'm evil.
Exactly. Corporations will be able to post today, even if the bosses in those organizations are the ones who are harassing people, have cases, etc. Everybody's gonna post and look okay. So how do you know, get past the facade? How do you live beyond all of these things that you see? Because it can, one, it feeds into, my brother always says, is the eye gate, the ear gate, and of course when you talk. So when you see it constantly, the jokes, it feeds into, it sits somewhere in your conscious, it becomes normal. And then the other thing is, if you've gone through it, looking at other people joking about it, it triggers you. So how do you put that balance online?
You know, that is such a beautiful question, because I was listening to a podcast by a guy called Mo Guat, and he talks about how to solve for happy. And in that, somebody asked him, you know, how do you handle the negative of the world around? And he said, I don't listen to the news and I don't watch the news. And they said, but how then can you progress if you don't do that? And he says, when COVID was happening, everyone was posting everything that was wrong. He's like, it reached a point that I started to feel this is too much for me. And so I switched off the news.
Right.
And I said, anything relevant that I'll need to know is going to come through my family. And he says, when London went into a lockdown, somebody told me, we're in a lockdown, this is what has to happen. And he says, I got the information. He said something that was so powerful. He says, there was nothing I was going to post that would affect and change the situation. So he says, what I did instead is I thought, how could I be a part of it with a better voice? And he says, in that lockdown, I formed a podcast and I took time out to think about what could the world use to hear more of in this time. And I found that so powerful, because at that time when I heard the podcast, everything was going on with Ukraine. Everyone was posting, and you almost feel like, okay, if you have a following, you should, because people will condemn you the way Michael Jordan was for having an entire following, right, and you don't support who you should, because you're supposed to influence. But I feel, what if your silence sometimes, you can use it to think and say, how can I make a difference in a different way? Maybe with a smaller group. Because I can go out and post that don't do this, give women a voice. Or I could silently go to school and educate young boys and say, this is how we should respect women. And I feel it's more about doing on your own silently than to be seen to be doing, to be seen to have posted. Like, great, clap for you. You have 100,000 followers and, 2,000 of them see you care. But do you? Did you do something about it? Did you take the time out to make a difference? Did you even go home and just have a chat with your husband and your children and say, this is what happened today. Guys, our family unit needs to be able to be raised different. So this small society in our home can impact maybe 2 of your friends who will impact a few more friends. And that's how we can push and create a ripple effect. I feel it's about using your voice better. And I feel when I even look at feminism, I feel it's come out of this rise where no one is listening to me say no. So I have to say no. Then I have to say no louder, and now I've got to be aggressive, and now I'm an aggressive woman. And so at some point, more than a woman screaming, more than a woman saying no, it's giving a woman her dignity back to have her voice the way she wants to have her voice. So she doesn't have to show it in a way that gets retaliation. But she's getting the retaliation because she has no choice but to raise to that level. Now, what happened to that lady yesterday is going to be a trigger to so many women that it happened much worse post that. And they've been silenced because the amount of women I've dealt with that come to me to say, after I've been sexually abused, nobody cared. I first don't feel safe to go to the police because they're all men. So how do I deal with that? When I go to the woman that is the policewoman, because this was genuine, this happened 3 months ago, a girl told me that she was so aggressive. She looked at me like it was my fault. So I went back home and I stayed with this problem. It's a problem everywhere, but it's a problem where you're taking the voice away from someone who says, if this happened to me, you're making them question, was it my fault? Was I a part of your sinful brain, your sinful act? And that's where I feel in giving people an equal voice, in giving women an equal chance to be able to say what they want to say in the way they need to, they don't feel silenced, they don't feel unheard, they don't feel unseen, and then they don't have to have men think we're going against them, because we're not. Because we're the same women raising boys, living with men. Right. So we're not against them. We just need your backing because technically you're more stronger. Then you go push the equation where a woman would be like, hey, I'll weight lift way more than a man and prove that I... So the strength of a woman, I feel, is in her soft feminineness, her feminine essence that can say so much, but it's sad that that feminine essence has to be lost, to be masculine, to have a voice.
You know, sorry, I keep being reminded for the question, but... anyway, that was what I was going to ask, but I guess, the discussion is doing it because it is important, especially online, and this is why I wanted to ask this question, is because just to get a pulse of where you're at, what does consent mean to you? Just get a pulse of where you are. You can SMS 2242, use the hashtag Daybreak, as well as I say, if you seek anonymity, the SMS route is better for you, so you can go ahead and send an SMS 2242, and then we'll be able to, you don't have to leave your name or where you're watching from, but online, of course, the handle will be there. So what does it mean to you, even as we talk about it today? CJ, the other thing is, and you mentioned it, we'll go back to it because men, it's two sides, and Shatta said it as well. So if you support women, you're seen as weak. If women sometimes are just airing their views, they're seen as, oh no, this is aggressive. Yeah, they're seen as being aggressive. But sometimes they're, angry, bitter, who hurt you, and all that stuff start coming up. So again, with that kind of imbalance, how do you kind of steer it towards, because there are people who are probably watching who are either in that situation, somebody wants to speak out, a man who wants to help, whether it's in the office, whether it's at home, is something that you're seeing wherever you are in your environment. There's somebody who is a man who wants to speak up and help the cause, but is afraid he'll be called weak on names. There's a woman who also wants to speak, but they're afraid, like they say, maybe they are quote unquote outnumbered. Maybe she's the only female in her department. How do you strike that balance?
You know, I love what Shada said. Like, if you start considering everybody as a human,
right,
and you stop demarcating those and saying, you know, we're fighting for the women, or we're fighting against the women or the men, you'll just have basic respect. There's just certain things you're not supposed to do, whether that is male or female. But I highlighted the thing of how we treat women because we don't do that to men. So, you know, scientifically then you would separate that. Why is it that if Willis knocks me, we won't pull his coat off and stuff? What is this that if it is a Roberta, then we feel like we need to tear that, you know? But generally we've got to go back into the place of our values. How do we even view ourselves? Because I cannot respect you more than I respect myself. How do I view myself? I feel that we are hateful of ourselves. We are angry with ourselves. Then we project it. So when I come and do you evil, it is not, I don't like myself. And because I feel I deserve less, I project it to you. People have they nearly have no ways of dealing with their own failures, dysfunctions, their traumas. They're not healed from things, disappointments. And so they carry that to the next person. It makes them feel powerful when they mistreat somebody else because they already look at themselves as they have low self-esteem.
Right.
So they don't feel powerful enough in their own lives. It takes a strong person to be able to lift somebody who is either weak or less. It takes a weak person to pull somebody down. So anytime we are not standing up for other people, we're just showing that we are weak. Anytime we're trying to put other people down, we're just showing that we are weak. Because if I am here and you're down here, why should I even prove it? I just need to pull you up, and it doesn't threaten me. So we have risen as people who have very bad self-perception, self-esteem, self-value, self-worth. We need to start healing from over there and understand that each one of us is powerful in one way or the other. I shouldn't hate you because you're driving and I'm on a border. I shouldn't hate you because you're earning a bit more. I am down over here. I shouldn't hate you because you're in a relationship and I am not. I shouldn't have a problem with you because you came from a better family and I struggle a bit. Whatever it is, we should all understand our uniqueness and find our strength in that element of uniqueness. See, I thought about, and I was having this discussion even before the video went viral, some of the ladies around our community, they just decided to go and hang out, and they were so dressed up, including one of my daughters, you know, who cleared campus last year. They'll dress up. And I thought to myself, ladies can actually dress up to just go and hang out, to feel good about it. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean they're looking for a man. It doesn't it doesn't mean they want anybody else to pay attention. They'll buy a dress for themselves and then just find a way to hang out. So you find Roberta and Shazmin and a group of them just to hang out, sit over there. Of course, we as men, we don't do that. If we go into something, there must be interest. What is the end product? But they can just dress up, glam up, go sit somewhere, take photos the whole time. And they felt good. They go back. I think we also, as men, sometimes misunderstand the communication of women. That when somebody dresses up or does something, we think they are saying something that they may not be saying. That's why when they get to the place of saying, no, I wasn't inviting you to touch me, we are confused because we're thinking, but your dress is short. And she's just trying to feel good about a short dress. She's just feeling good by herself, and the other girls will be making their comments about it. But we think that's an invitation because our communication is broken down. It's broken down because we are internally broken down as well. If we begin just loving ourselves And that's harder for men because we don't even understand the love, the language of love. And I'm not talking about the 5 languages. I'm just talking about love in itself is a foreign concept.
Right.
We understand work. We understand results. We understand practicality. We understand power. So we will talk about politics and football and money and stuff. That's what we understand. So when it comes to the place of something like just loving ourselves, we don't even know how to do that. So we've got to get to the place where we begin to appreciate ourselves as an entire community, appreciate ourselves for our uniqueness, for our differences, begin to respect myself, begin to love myself, look for ways to heal myself so that I don't have to feel powerful just because I put you down.
Right. And going forward, Shata, you know, Shaz mentioned something that, you know, people always feel the need to talk about it just because of, you know, I mean, of course, sometimes the position is different. If you're on air like this, you can use the space to reach more people. If you're on air on radio, you can use the same, a podcast the same. But on a social media space, on the social media feed, kuna wale, how do you, you know, continue, how do you stay authentic in yourself kama sasa uko social media pale na unataka kuongelea hizi mambo? So ubakiaje, just stay true to yourself amongst the clutter that exists pale kwenye socials.
Ni hiyo tu ukataka kubebwa na wave. Unaona to stay true to you. Unaget? Ni ujue this is me first of all. You cannot give me what you don't believe in. First, you're giving me an agenda that you believe in. That is you. Unaget? That way, once unajiamini na unajua kenye unafanya ni ukweli, hautasikia even if unaenda against dunia yote, uko tu sawa. Na hautakuwa bothered. Your opinion can only be bothered if you're coping. Unaget? But if you truly believe in what you're saying and you have the conviction, hakuna mtu atakusway. Unaelewa? Kuna kitu tunafaa isa ni wazazi, both fathers and mothers. Unaget? Mimi na believe mtoi mdema kigrow, just like mtoi kijana kigrow, opinion yake inafaa kwanza kumata immediately amejijua. The moment this child understands who they are, their opinion should start mattering immediately. You know, when you tell your daughter this and they tell you they are not okay with this, respect that.
Listen, yeah.
You know, when she says no at home and that no is ignored, when she tells a big man no and the man ignores it, she will think it's okay for this not to be ignored. You know, so when she grows up, anajua, you see, she knows what is respect and what is disrespect. From an early age, hakuji kujifundisha akiwa mtu mzima. At now you are a grown up and now she's teaching herself that this is disrespect, by the way, and this is respect. You know, ameshapitwa na vitu mingi sana. From the onset, when this child is growing up, they need to know what is acceptable and what is not acceptable to her. So that when she is at a stage where she says no, that no will not be disrespected. And if whoever disrespects it, she will stand up against it. You know, and that thing I keep telling people, be careful with what you compromise, because you're teaching people how to treat you the next time. You say that no, they ignore that no. Tomorrow you will say no and they will ignore it. You see? So you need to be very careful with what you compromise on. That is the key. And it starts from childhood. Let this child grow up knowing this is the line I'm taking. Unaelewa? Na hii shida tuko nayo as a society, hatuwezi achia mademo ifight peke yao. Unaelewa? Let me give an example of FGM.
Right.
You know, I've seen people doing rallies and mobilizing women, talking about how FGM is bad. But I sit down and I tell myself, this is a cultural thing. You know? You need to bring boys on board. Because these boys are taught that you cannot marry a girl that is not has not undergone FGM. You see? These girls themselves know that these boys will not look at them when it comes to time of marriage if they have not gone through this. Unaelewa? So isn't it better, first of all, to recruit this boy and teach this boy that it is okay, it is fine, it is perfect to marry a woman that has not gone through FGM. Once this boy knows this pressure on the other side is gone. You know? It cannot be a one gender issue. It has to be an everyone issue. And we have to act like we are together in it. Not even act, we have to be together in it. Unaget? And when we are talking about it, let's not push the message like we are fighting everyone. Unaelewa? Because, for example, with these border guys, kwa mtandao saa hii, it is a fight against every boda operator. You know, headlines za gazeti they have gone wrong. You see, maybe you are a boda guy. You are okay. Hata kuna boda madem. Si ndio? Like utapata madem anakuwa na ndudhi. Ama wewe ni you are a boda guy and you know very well haukuwa kwa hii scene na wewe you believe in equality, you respect women, si ndio? But now there is a blanket condemnation on all of you. Si ndio? Do you see how your voice can be diminished? You will want to speak out, but you know already people will dismiss you like a boda guy. So what do? You keep your opinion to yourself. Unaelewa? That is kiyo salumeniuliza. We come to that question now. You need to stand out. Whether you are going with the wave or against the wave, as long as you believe in it, say it. But if you don't believe in it, don't bother saying it. Because one question that will be asked there will change your opinion. Yeah, man.
All right. Let's take a look at some feedback by woman _Katia says, this is probably the most important conversation to be having around Women's Day. We need to nurture healthy maleness and masculinity. And we need to discuss the difference and meeting points between equity and equality. We need to honor the feminine and honor the masculine. Plimo, what was witnessed yesterday was just a shameful act. Men need to respect themselves and keep in mind that women are human beings and they need respect like the way they want to be respected, period. Juma Steve 1, I will not defend any part of the happening on Forest Road. It is outright wrong. However, it shouldn't be discussed as a women issue alone. The same mob would have lynched a man and even beaten him to death. This is an illegal act against humanity. Apex _Kenya, I wonder what women and girls really need to know. We respect them. Yes, we always talk of GBV and women, but they don't really say in details what we have to do to help them. I would advise you to just listen because they do say it a lot. Jesse says, consent to me is that my mind, my body, my heart are in unison, that this is what I want, and if any of those three things are against it, I respect myself enough to walk away. Dixon Joe says, we all know that women need to be handled with care because even the smallest issues, they take them very seriously. Kucheza msichana is like abusing her, and men should be taught how to handle women to avoid hurting them. There are truths there, but again, anyway, it's his opinion. Frank Generali says, consent simply means the acceptance to move along a particular vibe, both psychologically and emotional. Emotional acceptance is in most times is most of the times is mistaken for consent. Right. I think, yeah, that's it for now, and also because of time. Very interesting thoughts over there. Maybe as a wrap up, Bobby, someone who's watching and, like you mentioned, it has either been triggered, is in that situation where they probably can't speak up because of maybe it's a boss, maybe it is a colleague, maybe the environment is predominantly male, or there will be quote-unquote consequences if they do. What, for somebody who's gone through this sort of abuse or has been assaulted in one way, shape or form, or has been triggered, maybe talk to that woman.
I know it's a very difficult time to even try to use Twitter, and this is all that you see.
Right.
Comments of men demeaning women in crazy ways, and it's very horrible. And I'd say that your feelings and everything that you've been through is very, very valid. And you need to understand that your mental health is extremely important, just as important as your physical health. During this moment, please take time to take care of yourself and just stay away from all this. You do not have to be informed on all these things that are happening unless you're very, very interested in being at the top of the information that's going around. Take time off social media. And just for everyone else who cannot speak out but wants to, and they're wondering, how does Shazmeen have the confidence to speak on this? How is CJ answering all these questions? The most important tool is always to educate yourself, because the more knowledge you have, the more you know the difference between what is acceptable and what is not. The more you know what is right and what is wrong. And knowledge empowers you in such a beautiful way whereby it starts to give you a voice because you have a backing. You already know what it is that you feel and you can stand on it because you have all this information. And for the men out there, I'd say, talk to the women in your lives. Like there's some guy posted something on IG and I replied to him and I told him, go and ask your mom. Stop speaking from a point of so much ignorance. Go and ask your mom about the experiences that she's had in her life. Ask your girlfriend, ask your sister, ask your friend, because if you have not lived life as a woman, you do not know how difficult it is. Like saizi nikitaka kwenda kutembea pale, I have to think, what should I wear? Who will I go with? Who might want to talk to me? Who nini. I have to think all these things. And for you, it's just as simple as taking a walk. We live very, very different lives. And I see something that really, really angers me, this thing for not all men. You have to understand that as a woman, I am not in a position to tell which men, because all the men, most men, and these guys try to get disrespectful by asking, ata baba yako? Yes, ata baba zetu, even our dads and our uncles and our friends and our cousins and the men around us have really let us down. It's not something that we're trying to hurt you by saying, but it's our reality. And the least we need is not for you to fight us on our experiences or on what we're saying. It's for you to sit down and try to understand. That's why I told him, ask your mom. There's no way you'll know when you're speaking from a point of view of being a man. You have never lived as a woman a day in your life. You cannot know, you cannot understand, and even being told is not enough. Like your situation ya jana, okay, so alikuwa nafaje kujua which men? How was she supposed to tell which guys are the nice ones since it's not all men? How was she? Nobody even stood up to say, you know, to try and help her. And I need men to be more vocal. I need them to stand with us. I need them to be on our side. And I need women to arm themselves with more knowledge and more networks whereby it's just easier for us to communicate and share our experiences so that we know how to deal better with everything. And like one of the comments said from the feedback, we need to stop treating these issues as a
one gender.
Like if it's FGM, we're talking to the women. Let us educate everyone. Let us talk to everyone, because it is everyone's mutual responsibility. Because what happens is, how women are socialized. See, we grow up, we're told all these things about how to sit, how to talk, how to walk, who to talk to, and then the boys just go and grow. And then now we're dealing with these issues because nobody told the boys what to do, and the women were constantly being policed their whole lives. So I'd say, please understand the women in your life ikifika point where unaona hata kama ni aggression na anger, because I promise you, the aggression and anger is warranted. Because what else do you expect me to feel after watching the video from yesterday? You want me to laugh and say not all men? I honestly cannot separate, because for me now, it's boda men, it's all men, it's even my friend, it's even you, Willis, because I'm going to need you guys to take that extra step and be more action-oriented in the things you do. Back it up. Let us see what you're doing. Are you talking to the boys? Are you talking to the women? Are you helping us? Are you being... See, tuku post vitu za International Women's Day and you're doing all these things behind our backs. Like, we need to be together and to come together and do all this. So for everyone that's watching and is feeling some type of way, I'm very, very sorry, and just educate yourself and find spaces that are a bit safer for you to communicate exactly what it is you feel so that we're able to deal with this thing.
All right, well, we're gonna end it there. It's 7 past the hour, so we'd like to say thank you so much. For those who we weren't able to get to your comments, I know it's a very sensitive topic, and you can always reach out to anybody in the panel here for more information on it. You can follow at shatta_tikitaka, shatta_boy, and you can follow at Roberta Bobby, 11 Organisms Podcast, and www.11organisms.com. You can follow Shazmin Bank and get your tickets. She has an amazing event That's coming up on the 2nd of April. She's going to tell us more about it as it comes closer to the date. You can follow at CJ Atemo as well and ask. Get on their DMs, emails, whichever way. Educate yourself on this thing. Of course, we condemn what happened yesterday, but as Roberta said, having talked to my friends, my colleagues, it's very different for a woman who wants to take an evening jog or an early morning jog or walk past a bus station or go to this and this place. It's different. To be honest, as much as we say it is difficult to be a man, it's also difficult to be a woman. So let's talk on both sides and get to a point where we meet. And the most important thing, let's do something. Successful people look like you. That's it. Peace and love.